Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Downtime in the Ring. This week, we have a man of many names. Some will call him the legendary Star-Lord, depending on which promotion you're going to. Others will have known him as Caleb with a K. But this week, we have Caleb Konley joining us. This is going to be really exciting. I'm super excited. I can't wait to find out more about his career. Thank you for coming on, brother.
Glad to be here, guys. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
it's a doggy.
Here's the Salt Man, my youngest boy. He's going to be joining us. It looks like.
I love it. I love it. I love it when dogs join or cats. Sometimes cats don't want to join though, but I love it. So, before we begin anything, there is a man that helped set this up. What is your relationship with the great Montezi?
Man, I met Montezi at the Orpheum in Tampa, Florida. They used to do FIP and Evolve shows there, and he started coming, and he was just a fan at first. I didn't really know anything about him. Then he put me on to a couple songs he did. I was like, oh, this is pretty sweet. And he's like, oh man, I can do instance music for you. And he ended up making an instant song for me and my tag partner Zane Riley. And I've just kept up with him ever since. I know I work at highspots.com, and I got him hooked up with doing a set at WrestleCon a few years ago. Like, I don't know, that's actually been like 6 or 7 years ago now. But yeah, he's just been my buddy for 10 years now.
Yeah, and I saw highspots.com, and that's crazy. Like the fact that you create all of like the knee pads and stuff, and like
yeah.
And that's crazy, but go for it, Donovan. What were you saying?
Oh, no, I was just saying that's super cool, man. Highspots.com, dude. They're huge. I see their ads all the time. I'm subscribed to their page. I see all their stuff. That's pretty cool, man. Like, you've had such a interesting career, honestly. And like on this show, we love to give everybody their flowers, but we also like to ask the questions that you may or may not remember. And the first one that I have had, and I mentioned it to Chris before we even began this, was I can't find the result. So did you lose to Jeffrey the Giraffe from Toys R Us, or did you beat Jeffrey the Giraffe?
That was a battle royal. So I'm pretty sure he threw me out. Yeah.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's the result I want. I didn't want the poor giraffe to lose.
But damn it, what's his name? What's the Amazon guy's name?
The Amazon
Bezos came out and beat Jeffrey Giraffe. So all well is well.
No. That's the reason why Toys R Us is gone. No,
Yeah.
I don't like that, dude. Oh.
Art imitating
life, imitating art. No, I don't like that. How long have you been in the business? First off,
well, kind of all my life. My dad was a professional wrestler in the 90s. He started in the country music business before I was born, and got to be buddies with a lot of the guys in Crockett era NWA. And so I remember I kind of remember being like 3 or 4 years old, being backstage and meeting like the Road Warriors and Muda. So then fast forward a few years, my dad actually gets into the wrestling business a little bit, kind of part-time. He didn't really take it too seriously because he was, doing a real job, taking care of 2 kids and a wife, in doing country music stuff. So in part-time, he would be a wrestler. And so as like a 5 or 6 year old, I was always going to like independent shows and kind of, halfway bumping around in the ring as a little kid. And then when I was like 13, I ended up going to a couple shows and no ref showed up, and they just threw a ref shirt to me, and I hopped in there and tried to be a referee at 13. And then me and another buddy in high school, a guy named Bobby Moore, who wrestles in Georgia, Tennessee area, turned out I met him in high school. Turned out his dad was also an independent wrestler when he was a kid. So then we kind of got to be like best friends, and we decided one night that, right after high school, we were going to joined the WWA 4 school in Atlanta, and we were gonna be professional wrestlers ourselves. So that's kind of how it started.
Okay, that's pretty cool, man. That's an interesting way to do it. Like fate brought you guys together just to, see if you guys actually wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And you've gotten to do so many things. You're part of how many promotions currently? Because I mean, you're obviously a champion as, the legendary Star-Lord. I'm super excited, man. Like when the option was given, man, I was like, oh my God, okay, cool. I got to learn everything about this. This guy has wrestled so many amazing people, from like Drew Galloway, the Iconics, or the Inspiration, depending on, which promotion you're a part of, to what did you say, Chris? You said, oh no, he worked
Mysterio,
with
Muda, Tajiri. Dang, like you have a list of people. Hardy, both Hardys. It's just insane the amount of like people that you've worked with and gotten to be in the ring and kind of just like take knowledge from. Is there anything out of like that short list that we just said? Was there anything that stood out to you as far as like advice going into like more of I'm assuming like around the time being like 2016 or 2010 era up into 2020 before pandemic?
Yeah, I've gotten to work with a ton of people, like just of the guys that you mentioned, like the Iconics one, like that era with Impact was some of the funnest stuff I've ever been a part of. Getting to be around Tennille and Madison, and then also the Iconics every show, like from any guy's perspective, how could that be any better than hanging around with those four all the time?
Yeah.
They were always very very good to me. They always let me, come up with good ideas. They trusted that I would, that I would make the match better than, without them, without me being there. They knew I would do the right thing. So I always liked working with them. Galloway. Saul, you want to shut the fuck up? I'm kind of doing something here. Sorry. Galloway, I got to wrestle a whole bunch of times. And I will say I love him. I saw him a couple weeks ago. He's super nice guy still. He was always very nice to me. But when I got to work him a couple times, one, he's probably the stiffest dude I've ever wrestled, just because he's so big and massive. Like he hit me. I think he's probably hit me harder than anybody else I've ever been hit by. Maybe with the exception of Jordan Grace. I got to work with him like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times in like a span of like 6 months. And I was working for Evolve for the most part at that point. And the booker, Gabe Sapolsky, I was like, hey, Gabe, like, I mean, thank you for letting me be in the ring with Drew so much, but like, why? And he's like, well, because you're the only one that doesn't complain about how hard he is.
I mean,
fair enough. Fair enough.
That's
fair
awesome.
enough. So like going through all your stuff. So we just had a previous guest, I think about like 3 or 4 episodes back, who is Coach Josh Gary for AML. Man, I always have a tough time saying that. And so when we saw the championship, I texted Chris and I was like, man, the world of professional wrestling is so small. It's so big, yet it's so small at the same time. Because I never thought we would ever have one of their champions on.
Yeah,
and then
here I am.
learning that. And you also wrestled Drew at one of their shows, correct?
At I wrestled Drew at AML. I wrestled him at PWX. I wrestled him maybe twice at Evolve, at least twice singles, and then I know that me and Tony Nee. Oh my God, I'm having a total street fight behind me. Chill out. I got to wrestle him in a tag match. It was me and Tony Nese against him and Johnny Gargano. So that was super cool also.
So you've gotten to, like, let's go to your time with Impact. You got to do the Cult of Lee, which I could only imagine how that was.
Oh, it was great. I love working with Trevor.
Oh yeah. I could only imagine how fun that was. Then, if we can talk about it, you donned the gimmick of a character that we absolutely fell in love with. That's who we kind of grew up with, even though it was other iterations. How was being Suicide?
It was awesome, man. They in fact signed me at 2016, and it was kind of in a weird period for them where they were going in and out of different ownership really quickly. Like I'm pretty sure it was Dixie still when I got there, and then Billy Corgan took over, and then it was something else. There was like a group of people. I don't really remember the specifics, but I just know that like every TV taping, they were like, "Hey, now we're owned by this people." So eventually, Anthem took over, and for a second, like it was just like they signed me, but they kind of didn't really know what to do with them because like everyone was hired and fired and quitting, and there was all kinds of stuff going on. And then eventually Jeff Jarrett took over, and I'd kind of just been sitting at home for a few months, and they called me and asked if I would feel confident in doing that, and I was like, yeah, man, that's pretty awesome. Like some of the best dudes ever have gotten to be Suicide, and I was, jumped at the opportunity, one, to just, be able to wrestle at TNA when, after they had signed me, and two, just like what a cool opportunity to put that mask on.
Yeah, and I remember when Suicide debuted, and it was Kazarian at the time who was under the mask initially. I got to see like the Kazarian version, the Daniels version, the weird Jonathan Gresham version. That
well, that was just like
really...
one show.
Yeah,
that's the other thing is people always try to like throw in other people that have done it, but they were like,
yeah,
like the whole thing with Austin Aries was he was never really, he did the one spot for it, but it wasn't like him under the mask all the time. John Grisham was the same way. Like they were thinking about bringing Suicide back. They didn't know who to put it under. They gave it to him for a second, decided against it, and gave it to me.
And to see that juxtaposition, because TJ Perkins was also Suicide.
Yes.
You did the tag match with him, correct?
Yes.
How
with
like,
Suicide and Manic?
Yes, that was a weird one for me. It was like, okay, I know that guy used to be Suicide, but now that whole thing is like with the whole Jay Lethal Austin Creed thing. Who's under the mask, So I was like, oh, that's crazy. But coming like in hindsight, like learning about your career and stuff, that's crazy. Like, how did that work out? Did he give you any advice, like leaning into his portion of Suicide, or did you kind of like I know you said previously that you've taken parts of Kazarian, parts of Daniels, and kind of mashed it together to create what Suicide was initially, but was there anything that you added?
By that point, I had already been doing it for several years, so what I was doing was already what I was doing. So we just kind of gelled it together. We were really hoping that it was going to be like a long-term thing, like we were going to be a tag team for real, but unfortunately, it didn't go that way.
I gotcha.
So, what are your initial thoughts on TNA coming back? And I think that you're one of the best people to ask for that.
I don't know. I mean, when I came back in when they brought me back in early 2020, they were doing the thing where Moose was the TNA champion, and that's so they. Right then, they I think Chase Stevens came back that time, and I think the idea was they were going to almost like Raw and SmackDown it. They were going to do like a TNA show and an Impact show, and then COVID happened, and everything just kind of like fell apart. So I think the idea for them to bring TNA has been like in the works for a few years.
Yeah.
I think to me it's just. And to most fans, it's just always been TNA. So I don't know how much of a difference it really makes. I mean, it was a great spectacle. It seems like all of their shows since they went back to that, like the houses have been up. It seems like there's more buzz around the company than there's been in a long time. So I mean, all of those things are great. So I mean, whatever they can do to put some butts in seats, good for them, man.
Are you working towards trying to go back?
I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. I would like to, if it went that way. I always had fun with, the roster they have is great, and I always have fun there. It was always a good time being there. So yeah, I mean, I would love to come back if the opportunity presented itself.
Okay. And then my final question about TNA, the initial news on hearing that Scott D'Amore was gone.
Shocked. I mean, he was the management at TNA. So like, I don't even I'm not there, so I don't even know what the structure is anymore. But like, I think they just hired like a random guy from Anthem is taking over now. I'm not really sure. So like, it didn't seem like anybody working for TNA was very happy about it. But again, like I don't keep up with the gossip enough to really know. But it was definitely a shocking thing because I mean, if anybody was holding that ship afloat, it was Scott.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's true. Which shocked, I think, most of the wrestling world that day when it was announced. And then since then, everybody's been kind of, putting their own petitions and everything. So I just figured I would ask because I know you being there, you must have interacted with Scott D'Amore countless times.
Yeah, I mean, he was very hands-on boss. He was, involved in everything, and it wasn't like he was hard to approach. Like he was always, he was one of the boys for, I don't know, however long he's been in the business, for 30 years or whatever. So he's always looking out for everyone's best interest, I feel, and he seemed to get along with, pretty much everybody. So like I don't know the behind the scenes stuff. I don't know if there was, contract negotiations or I don't know what it is, but stuff like this happens in wrestling and it sucks because, he was, if nothing else, I mean, you knew that he believed in TNA with his whole heart.
And even like I had recently watched the speech that Eric Young had given prior to No Surrender, how like even though the mindset has kind of hit or the morale has kind of taken a blow, is that the whole point of TNA was they never surrender. There's no surrender at TNA. It's always keep pushing forward into the new, and so I look towards people like a TNA original like Eric Young, the champion in Moose, who's been there tenured like over the pandemic era, these new cornerstones, and looking to see like I think TNA will flourish. It sucks that Scott is gone, but like with someone like Eric Young who has a mind for the business and cornerstones that you can build around with Moose, with Edwards, with Kazarian, with Macklin and all those guys, I see nothing but great things in the future as long as they keep true to that statement.
I mean, everyone's counted TNA out since the very beginning. Like people said the 6-sided ring stuff wouldn't work when they doing weekly pay-per-views. They said that was a dumb idea and it would never work. The whole Hogan era, everyone said that was going to tank and was going to be, TNA would be gone. Like I can't count on two hands how many times everyone's like, oh yeah, TNA will be out of business by the end of the year, and like they just they can't be stopped. Like they just keep going.
I agree with that. Like they've withstand the test of time the entire time. It's amazing on what they've gone through, and so I figured I'd ask, get somebody who had been there for a very long time and just get your opinion on everything about that. But on a lighter note, let's talk about the other promotions that you've gotten to work with. And how did that feel, taking the green mist from Muda? Because that was hilarious.
Well, it didn't happen. It was it's all smoke and mirrors. They just painted that crap on my face. Muda was standing there and was kind of laughing at me the whole time. Then Muda and the Usos were very very happy to watch me walk around with green stuff on my face for about 2 hours.
Damn. Oh, damn. Okay. All right. Well, that's insane. Okay. I couldn't even imagine. I thought it would be like a quick, 5 minutes and, film it and it's done.
Sorry. The actual thing itself, took 5 minutes. It was like one, maybe 2 takes and we were done. But, like anything in Hollywood, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. So hurry up and go get your face done. Stand over here and wait a minute. We'll go get things that need to be done. Other producers need to see this and make sure it's good. So, it was standing around half a day waiting for, my 5 seconds of fame.
Where did that come from, too? Where did that offer come from?
I just, I've got a lot of friends that work at all the wrestling promotions. So, that was the WrestleMania weekend. So I was in town for WrestleCon, and, I was just hanging out, and then last minute they decided that they wanted to add something extra for, a little gag for Muda between matches or whenever it happened to show.
And speaking of Hollywood, you also did some work for the Heel season 2.
Both seasons, actually, yeah.
Both seasons.
Yep.
What was that experience for you? Because I've asked that question to a couple people who've been on like the Monster Factory with Gabby Ortiz, how her time was with all those cameras, and even like
Dream Girl
Ellie and stuff with her time on that. What was that like working in Heels and like behind the scenes? If you can give any behind the scenes info on that.
I mean, it's Hollywood. It's completely different. There's, everyone has their own job. This guy's job is to hold this cable, and this guy's job is to hold this light, and then they don't. That's what they do. It's not like pro wrestling where you'll hear stories, especially on the independent scene, where half the people on the show have put up that ring and they're selling merch and they're selling tickets and putting up posters and doing everything. Like everyone has their own little specific thing. We were treated great. Luke Hawks was the wrestling coordinator. He's an awesome dude. He's helped me out a ton in life and in wrestling and in stunt work. It was so cool. We had our own like warehouse with rings and like a whole like CrossFit style gym set up, and we would just go in there every day and work out and get in the ring and roll around. And then when they need us for our shots, they'd come get us. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life, honestly.
Such a great show too. I enjoyed it.
It's a very good show.
I'm so sad.
Yeah, it was super unfortunate about the second season. There was a ton of I don't know all the backstage drama ends of it, but I know that Stars was going through something with whoever else, maybe like partly owned Stars. So they didn't know if they were gonna. We'd already shot season 2 a long time ago, and it took them basically a year to figure out when they were going to put it out. And then when they put it out is when the strike happened, and then nobody could talk about it because of the strike. And I feel like that's the biggest reason why it got canceled, because I mean, if we would have been out there pushing it the way we would have normally, I think it would have done way better.
And we could have gotten a season 3 at least. I'm always going to be sad about that, man. I enjoyed it.
I've heard rumblings that they were going to pitch it to another network, or maybe like a Netflix or a Hulu type thing, which would be awesome. So I mean, I think that Stephen Amell was really gung ho about making this show a success, and I think that if there's an opportunity for it to be revived, he'll probably do whatever he can to make a season 3 happen, which would be fantastic news. Part of like being there, like, I'm doing scenes, or most of it was just background stuff, or I actually got to try to be CM Punk's stunt double there for a minute. But like when the show was being filmed, I had no idea mostly what's going on, and then to like go back and actually see like the final product on Stars, it was like, man, this is actually like good TV.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
You have a UK tour coming up.
Yes, I do.
Can you divulge into that?
I mean, I can divulge a little bit, but honestly, it's I don't really know too much myself. I know that I will be there from October 3rd to the 28th, and I'm gonna be wrestling Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every weekend I'm there. I don't really know all of the schedule off the top of my head, but I will be all over the UK. I know that much.
Okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I saw that it was you, and it was also Suicide.
It's very possible that me and Suicide will be booked on a couple of the same shows while we're there, yes.
That's going to be... Wait, what? When you look back at your career, what are some of the most amazing things that you have gotten to do?
I mean, I've gotten to do stuff in Australia, in China, in Japan, in India, the UK a couple of times. I got to wrestle in Barbados the same week as the pandemic hit, and came back to a completely different United States. So just being able to see the world was always one of the big goals for me, just to, get flown places to live my dream and see really cool stuff all over the world has been pretty awesome. I've been in the ring with tons and tons of talent, like from the Hardys to, wrestled the Briscoes a couple times, to Jerry, Rey Mysterio on like 5 different occasions. So, I mean, I've gotten to see some pretty cool stuff, and I'm pretty happy about it. And I'm still in pretty good shape, so I want to continue to make that kind of stuff happen.
And what do you think your legacy is?
Man, I don't know. I don't ever think about that kind of stuff. I'm just looking forward. Like, I would like to be thought of as a guy you could put in any position and he would make the best of it. Like, from Caleb with the K to Suicide to just me being me, to me and Zane as the Revolt. Like, if you want me to be a high flyer, I can be a high flyer. If you want me to be a technical wrestler, I can be a technical wrestler. You want me to be funny, I can be funny. You give me your bad idea, and I'm gonna make the best of it.
I respect that, because there are a lot of people, and we went over this in our last episode too, that can't handle that can't be all around kind of wrestler, that they stick to their one gimmick and that's all that they will ever be. So I do respect that, because a lot of people do struggle with that even currently today.
I mean, some people are, they put their all into figuring out what that character is, and they've got one mindset and they know one way to do things, and that's not necessarily wrong, because I mean, if you're someone who's the best of the best of the best of the high flyers, there's no point in you trying to do the other thing. Or if you're the biggest and the strongest and you're the best brawler, then there's really no point in you trying to be like a high flyer or a comedy guy.
Yeah.
But I feel like for me, being well-rounded and being able to do everything pretty good was a pretty good way for me to be.
I agree with that. Awesome. Cool. So you're going to WrestleCon this year?
I will be going to WrestleCon. I work for High Spots currently, so I will always be wherever High Spots is.
Okay. Do they go to WrestleCade also, or no?
Oh yeah, we're in WrestleCade, WrestleCon, all of them. All of the big conventions were probably there in one form or fashion.
Awesome. Cool. I can't wait. We're trying to go to WrestleCade this year, so hopefully we'll be able to get a picture with you or something like that.
Absolutely, man.
Definitely want to get a meet and greet. That'd be really cool. Hopefully we can have a part 2 to this conversation too. Get
Anytime
some live
you
action.
want.
So if we are able to do a live action, interview and do all that face to face, will you chop Chris?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'll start it with him. I'll end it with Erica.
Yes. Okay. So like we have a running joke. We're trying to get as many guests as we possibly can. They all owe Chris a chop, because he won't step into a ring. So that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. So yes. Thank you. It could be
I'll pay my dues somehow.
This is how you got to pay your dues, brother. This is definitely so. A lot of young wrestlers watch our show, just because I always ask this question: what advice could you give them? Somebody who's starting out, say tomorrow, and they are super worried about, everybody. I think that's how it is for everybody. Once they start their pro wrestling journey, they think they're going to debut super soon and that they're going to be a champion for this and that everything comes along with it. And that's honestly not how it goes. What advice could you give somebody who's, just trying this?
For years and years and years, it was mostly just like, you got to train hard. You got to be in the gym. You got to bust your ass in the ring. You got to train super hard. You got to do all those things. But now I feel like, I mean, all of those things, but it's like some people take themselves way too seriously. So I've told kids a lot lately to take the business seriously, but don't take yourself so seriously. A lot of guys will come in they get a little bit of success, and then all of a sudden they've got giant egos and they're demanding things and huge unrealistic paydays, and they don't want to lose to certain people, and they won't take certain moves. And it's just like, you got to remember that we're all pretend fighting in our underwear, and we're not brain surgeons, and there's way more important stuff going on in the world of professional wrestling. You're getting to, hopefully this is your dream, so you're getting to at least try to live it. So just have fun with it, but still, it's a business. You should take it seriously, but just don't take yourself so seriously.
I like that. I agree with that. I think that a lot of people, especially starting out, struggle with that, especially if they're given, a championship too early, or they wrestle in the same territory and that's all they're known for. I do agree with that. I think that that's one thing that people do struggle with. I'm the opposite. I have an ego outside the ring, but once I step in there, I still get timid. I still get a little nervous every time.
Oh, you got to get a little nervous. That means you care about it, man. You got butterflies. I mean, you should care about what you're doing out there. You should, care about the history of wrestling. You should care about, making sure that you're doing good to the promoter, and you're doing good for the fans, and you're doing good for everybody. But at the same time, like, if you mess up something, that sucks. But just do it better next time.
As long as nobody got hurt,
absolutely,
that's the most important thing.
That's, nowadays, especially, someone will, hey, how was your match? I go, I'm still walking, so everything is good.
So how often do you wrestle now?
Man, I wrestle every weekend, at least 2 shows, usually 3. Sometimes I'm wrestling twice on those shows, if you catch what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, this weekend I wrestled 4 times in 3 days, and this coming up weekend, I think it's 3 times in 2 days.
Trooper.
So I think the whole time in UK, I think I'm probably wrestling 6 matches a weekend.
Okay, cool. Oh, you're back.
Which sounds great. It sounds great if you're a 24-year-old, guy who's been in the business a couple of years and you're looking to get good reps in. But we got a saying about a bump card and how it fills up really fast, and mine's been filling up real fast.
But you're having fun on the indies, and there's like a resurgence because the indies are big now compared to what they used to be.
Yeah, honestly, like, the indies are doing pretty good. When I first started in 2005, 2006, like, every little indie was just its own little hole in the wall that no one really knew outside of, a 50-mile radius. And it's now like everyone kind of knows everyone a little bit, and, the world's so much smaller now, and you can learn from other people, and you can connect with other people, and, just it's a whole different world than it was 15 years ago.
A great example would be like GCW and FSW, which is what you're the current champion for, is, the complete different 180s, cosplay wrestling compared to deathmatch wrestling, and they're both still thriving.
Yeah, right. There's enough room for everybody. If you're doing what you're doing good, someone's going to like it. Someone's going to take notice. So, I mean, we're at a good spot.
So why did you choose Peter Quill? Out of all the Marvel heroes, you could have been like Captain America, U.S. agent.
I like to interject and say that if there was anyone who had to portray Peter Quill in wrestling, it would be this guy.
I agree. That's why.
I'm a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, so like Chris Pratt being portrayed on the movie version, I was like, oh yeah, I see it. But with you are way more. You look like Peter Quill. I can't say it any more than that. It's like,
thanks, man.
Why aren't you on the Marvel movie?
Like, come on. You're telling me, man. Tell them, call them, get them on the phone. I need that Peter Quill contract. Honestly, doing the FSCW stuff is some of the most fun I've ever had in wrestling. I started doing that in 2017, and I had just seen Guardians of the Galaxy when they asked me about doing it. And they asked me who I wanted to be, and I was like, I had a couple ideas, nothing was really set in stone, and then they pitched it to me. And then I like went back and I watched Guardians of the Galaxy again. I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect. Like, this isn't even me having to act. Like, this is just me being me.
So it's still the same general playlist that you'd play on your Walkman?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I got my Walkman going right now. Totally awesome play mix.
Okay, I'll respect that. All right. I just thought like Steve Rogers or like US Agent, any of the people that I said, but I guess.
Let me tell you, I don't give a crap about Marvel movies. I don't. But I like Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think that's the same thing Peter Quill would say. I don't think he gives a crap about Marvel movies. He just wants to listen and jam out to some good tunes and talk to some hot girls. So I'm right there with him.
Yep. My heart just broke because he said
that's the mentality.
My heart just broke because he said that. Damn. You like do you like the DC movies? You just not a superhero guy or what?
No, I mean, some of them are fine. Some of them, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a curmudgeon. I don't care about anything that goes super viral, and I don't care about something that there's 1,000 movies of. I've never seen Star Wars. I fell asleep during almost every Harry Potter movie I ever had to watch. The only like franchise movies that I really care about are like, I like Indiana Jones and I like Aliens. Other than that, I don't really give a crap.
God. Okay. All right. I don't know what to say to that one. I have no idea how to reply to that one. Doesn't like Star Wars. Doesn't like Marvel. I was gonna say
I didn't say I don't like Star Wars. I said I've never seen it. Oh, okay. Not only have I never seen it, but I never will see it. I've made a life goal of mine to never see Star Wars.
Fair. So I can see why people would make that life goal, because the fandom is so toxic.
As our buddy, our wise man, is the biggest Star Wars guy we've ever met. Damn. Okay. All right. So overall, what is something that you want to accomplish? And it doesn't have to be wrestling. I know that you are a stuntman. Is there something that you just want to accomplish this year as we are going into the third month?
More travel. I mean, I've already got the thing in England booked. I would love to maybe get to Japan maybe again. I've been trying to make some connections in Mexico. And again, like the stuntman stuff would be great. I really enjoy just the whole system. I like being behind the scenes and seeing how things get made. I had a wonderful experience on Heels. I also did Righteous Gemstones, which was super cool also. And if I could nail down a full-time stunt gig, man, that would be awesome.
I need him as the stunt man, and if it's a wrestling movie, Chavo as the coordinator. That would be crazy.
Chavo is living the dream, man. He's coordinating so much good stuff. Like, he's a good dude too. I just saw him a couple months ago.
You have like interactions with some of the most amazing people. That's all I got to say. You and Montesi is what I'm starting to learn. It's like y'all's circles. They are ever expanding.
Yeah, I've been lucky. That's one thing is like High Spots. We do the virtual signings in the office. So I mean, just last Thursday, Tugboat was in the office. I think Arn Anderson's going to be in the office this week.
Nice.
We had Demolition in there a couple weeks ago. Like, it's always somebody super cool. Dana Brooks was just in the office. So like, it's so much fun. That's one of the coolest things about High Spots. Like, there for a while when like Flair, when Reed Flair was training and Ricky Steamboat's kid was training, and we had the school at High Spots, there would be like a Tuesday night at training, and Ric Flair would be there, Ricky Steamboat would be there, Bobby Eaton would be there, and it's like, how do you get any cooler than that?
Yeah,
to be like a 23-year-old trainee, getting shot by Ric Flair, getting arm dragged by Ricky Steamboat.
That's insane.
How did the High Spots gig like happen? Like, how were you approached by them?
Well, I met the Man Scout in 2006, and I was dating Daphne at the time, and she had done a bunch of stuff with High Spots at the Shooting Review and a couple shows, and it was just mentioned that they had a couple openings, and I was 20, 21 years old, and get to work around a professional wrestling ring all day, every day. So I packed up my bags from Atlanta and moved to Charlotte, and I've been there ever since.
Chris, he's living the dream, man.
I know.
He's living the dream, brother. Absolutely, 100%. He's living the dream.
Yeah.
Except like if we had anything like that, like every virtual signing, they just have to start off by giving you a chop. That's it.
Yeah, that's true.
You can do that, man.
A quick question though. You did mention Flair, and like you liked watching a lot of the Jim Crockett stuff. What are your thoughts on Sting's final match coming up?
Ooh,
I don't know. I mean, I guess congratulations to him for hanging it up on his own time. It's awesome that it's 2024 and Sting is still out there doing stuff, and it's not like he's just been going easy, man. He falls through tables and jumps off balconies in every match. Dude he's still going out there and giving it his all, and that's amazing. And honestly, as a 5 or 6 year old, Sting was my hero. So the fact that he is still doing all that he's doing is just it's so cool.
I know. I got fully introduced to Sting, more so obviously in the WCW days, whenever it was him versus Hollywood Hogan and stuff in the NWO. But I got to see more of Sting in the TNA stuff, in his TNA stuff. I got to see Joker Sting, but him being able to do it at the level that he's still doing it at his age is insane to me. And same sentiment, how he's getting to end it on his own terms. It kind of sucks that Flair isn't his last match, quote unquote. We don't know how that's gonna go, but it would be a perfect ending maybe at the time, but given how everything's been, maybe if he wants to go out that way, all props to him.
Hey man, and it's wrestling. He wouldn't be the first person to retire and then unretire and then retire again. So
nope.
We'll find out on Wednesday what the Young Bucks or the EVPs asked Flair anyway. So I think Flair will be a part of the match regardless. But are you going to try and be at Revolution, or are you going to go try and watch Revolution at the show, because you're not that far away from it?
No, it's only about an hour for me. I don't think so. I'm probably going to go home and see some family this week. I had a real long weekend in Texas, and I'm just going to take this weekend and try to heal up a little bit.
Oh, okay. All right. So as we begin to wind down, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on all the social medias at Caleb Konley, CalebKonley. I'm always posting dates where I'm going to be, or, stupid videos of my dogs doing dumb tricks. And that's it. That's all I got, man.
Remy, as a one-time AML champion, that was the coolest picture that I could find. I love that. I love that so much.
There for a while, I would post a picture with my belt around one of the dog's waist every time. I haven't done it in a while. I might have to bring it back now. I haven't got a picture with Saul in the NGW Southeastern title, so might have to do that tonight, actually.
Yes,
nice.
We brought back a trend. Hell yeah, man! All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode of Downtime in the Ring. Thank you for coming on this show. Thank you for this great conversation. I hope that you do a lot this year. I hope that you get to achieve everything you want. You get to travel more. You get to, go to Japan or Mexico. I hope you get to do that. And I hope we get to see you chop Chris in November. That's the biggest thing.
Me too. If you're there, I'm gonna chop you, damn it.
Yes. Okay.
He added a damn it to it.
Yes. We're getting tickets, Chris. You can count. You can just set a timer for the day that it's gonna happen. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you in the next video.